It keeps getting worse for the Dallas Cowboys as the Dallas Cowboys went out sad. So we're gonna be going through that and 5 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Dallas Cowboys news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel hitting that red button down below. The first story is Prescott. Cowboys stuck in divisional round rut another year. For all the progress of the first road playoff victory in 30 years, Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys still can't get out of their divisional round rut. Now they have another year to think about it. They're all independent. The Dallas quarterback said after dropping to 0-3 in divisional games, almost half of the record 7 consecutive losses in this round for the Cowboys. You can't take one from the other or think about that. But all I can think about right now is this game and how disappointed I am in my play at this point. Prescott threw 2 interceptions in a 19-12 loss to San Francisco, a week after easily his best playoff performance in a victory at Tampa Bay that eliminated 7-time champ Tom Brady. The Cowboys have fallen short of the NFC Championship game in 12 consecutive playoff appearances since winning the most recent of the 5 Super Bowl titles for America's team 27 years ago. Prescott was the problem early, but the defense was a big letdown late by allowing 2 long scoring drives and not getting Dallas the ball back with enough time for a realistic scoring chance. The offseason focus, though, will be largely on Prescott's failures. He went from a personal playoff best 143.3 passer rating against the Bucs to a playoff worst 63.6 against the Niners. His career-high 17 interceptions, playoffs included, led the NFL. Owner, general manager Jerry Jones remains committed to Prescott. The 2016 NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year has 2 years left on a 4-year contract that pays $40 million per season. "We'll come out of here with something good out of this," Jones said. "That's an edge. Tonight didn't change my mind about the edge with him." McCarthy's stiff arm. Coach Mike McCarthy was photographed extending an arm into the lens of a TV cameraman while walking off the field after the game. The cameraman tweeted that he didn't think the coach pushed him, although the photograph made it appear he had. The cameraman said he met privately with McCarthy, who he said apologized. Jones said the latest divisional loss didn't change his mind about McCarthy being his coach. Questions about McCarthy's job security continued despite consecutive 12-win seasons that ended with playoff trips, including last week's postseason victory. Ending with a thud, star running back Ezekiel Elliott and tight end Dalton Schultz might have played their final games with the Cowboys. If so, both endings left something to be desired. Elliott was the center for a strange formation on the final play, getting run over by a defender after the shotgun snapped to Prescott. Receiver Calvonte Turpin was immediately tackled before the Cowboys could start pitching the ball on a play that began 76 yards from the end zone. Schultz inexplicably didn't get a second foot down on the catch before that play, costing the Cowboys about 15 yards of field position and preventing any realistic chance at a desperation pass. Elliott could be cut without significant salary cap implications on the $90 million 6-year extension he signed 3 years ago. Schultz, who scored 3 touchdowns in the playoffs, played on the franchise tag and appears unlikely to do so again. It probably will take a long-term contract to keep him, and the Cowboys have some expensive priorities coming in the next few years. Pollard's future. Running back Tony Pollard, who emerged as the best playmaker on offense, broke his left fibula against the 49ers when he was tackled in the first half. He was on the final year of his rookie contract and still will be rehabbing an injury that will require surgery when free agency opens in March. Pollard might be headed for the franchise tag. Receiving void. CeeDee Lamb had a career season in his debut as the #1 receiver after the offseason trade of Amari Cooper in a cost-cutting move. The Cowboys never really did figure out how to replace Cooper, though. Before the ill-conceived final play, Noah Brown and T.Y. Hilton were the only receivers with a catch after Lamb's 10 grabs for 117 yards. Michael Gallup, who signed a $58 million, 5-year contract last offseason, was shut out against the 49ers. Defensive decisions. Micah Parsons, an All-Pro in both of his seasons, is the anchor of a defense that led the NFL in takeaways in consecutive years. There are some questions about the supporting cast. Linebacker Leighton Vander Esch, Dallas' first-round pick 5 years ago, had a strong season on a 1-year contract after the Cowboys didn't pick up the 5th-year option on his rookie deal. The second story is Cowboys signed 5 players following Sunday's loss. For NFL playoff teams, the offseason starts immediately after they have been eliminated, or, if they're lucky, win the Super Bowl. The Dallas Cowboys saw their season come to an end on Sunday with a 19-12 defeat against the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Divisional Round. On Monday, the Cowboys added 5 players to reserve futures deals for 2023. They were centers Alec Lindstrom and Brock Hoffman, wide receiver Dontario Drummond, and defensive backs Sheldrick Redwine and Juanyeh Thomas. All 5 players spent time on Dallas' practice squad this season, with Drummond, Redwine, and Hoffman finishing the year on their Thomas and Lindstrom. The Dallas Cowboys signed the following players to reserve futures contracts: Dontario Drummond, Brock Hoffman, Alec Lindstrom, Sheldrick Redwine, Juanyeh Thomas. Redwine is the only member of the group who was not a rookie in 2022. He and Hoffman are the only ones who have seen NFL regular season action. Redwine was a 4th-round pick of the Cleveland Browns in 2019 and appeared in 27 games in 2 seasons with the team. He also played in 4 games with the Miami Dolphins and 2 with the New York Jets in 2021. Hoffman, meanwhile, played on special teams for Dallas in 3 December games and also saw some action against the Niners yesterday. The third story is Dak Prescott sums up Cowboys' loss to 49ers, takes responsibility for costly turnovers. Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott placed the blame on his shoulders for the 19-12 loss to the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday night to knock them out of the playoffs. Prescott and the Cowboys' lone touchdown came on a pass to Dalton Schultz in the first half. Dallas would rack up field goals from there. Prescott had 2 interceptions in the loss, both in the first half. On the first one, "I hitched one too many times with," Prescott told reporters via the team's website. Understandably, hitching 3 times. "Thought I was gonna go on a scramble, but the guy just came back to the ball and made a play. I've gotta throw that one away or use my feet and get out of the pocket." On the second one, the nickel squeezed, and I tried to throw it to CD, but was able to make a play on it. He tipped it in the air and to the. Prescott said he understood those kinds of turnovers cannot happen in the playoffs. "Those are throws you can't have, not in the playoffs," Prescott said. "Not when you're playing a team like that on the road. No excuses for it. Those are 100% on me." The lack of execution for the Cowboys ended up costing them the game. Brett Maher missed an extra point attempt after Prescott's touchdown to Schultz, but he was able to help keep the Cowboys in the game with 2 field goals in the second half, including a 43-yarder that cut the 49ers' lead to 4 points. Coming off a 5-touchdown tally against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, to have a lackluster performance on offense was disappointing for Prescott. "It hurts," he added. "Very disappointed we weren't able to come out with this one. Disappointed in my play and for the guys in the locker room. It's unfortunate. It sucks." The fourth story is Dak to blame for Dallas' divisional round loss? The GM Shuffle examined how another Cowboys season ended in disappointment and who might be to blame. Michael Lombardi says Dak is a perfect example of a good player that when you give him so much of your cap, it hurts you in other areas. He says you can win with Dak, but you have to manage Dak and you have some good players around him. He said to take a look at what happened once Tony Pollard was forced to leave the game due to injury. Furthermore, Lombardi said the game made something very clear. Pollard is the Cowboys' offense and he has to get franchised. Femi Abebefe agrees that Dak let his team down, noting that if Dak just plays okay, the Cowboys win that game. Femi also didn't hold back on social media either. Michael also said he thinks there are design problems for Dallas. However, he thought defensive coordinator Dan Quinn did an excellent job against Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers offense. On the other hand, Michael had few kind words for offensive coordinator Kellen Moore. He said experience matters in high-pressure situations and that the in-game strategic adjustment element is missing for Moore, as was laid bare when Pollard went down. He says there is a strategy involved and a coach has asked, "How are we going to play today to win today?" And that could be completely different than what we have to do tomorrow. The dust is beginning to settle on the Dallas Cowboys' latest campaign, one that featured a 12-5 regular season, dominating victory in the playoff opener, and ultimately the all-too-familiar feeling of disappointment come late January. Following Sunday's 19-12 loss to the San Francisco 49ers at Levi's Stadium, the Cowboys extended their own NFL record of consecutive playoff appearances without a trip to the conference championship game, now standing at 12. It's been 27 years since Dallas reached the NFC title game, a painful reminder but blunt evidence of the franchise's current inability to get over the hump. And, as has always been the case, all eyes turn to the quarterback position. The fifth story is Cowboys RB Tony Pollard expected to undergo surgery Tuesday. After suffering a high ankle sprain and a fractured fibula in the Cowboys' divisional round loss to the 49ers on Sunday, running back Tony Pollard is expected to have surgery on Tuesday, people with knowledge of the injury told the Dallas Morning News. A timetable for his recovery won't be determined until surgery is completed on the injuries, but a 4-month timeline is reasonable. That timeline would put him on track to return by the start of training camp. The Cowboys' offense took a significant blow after Pollard was carted off to the locker room toward the end of the first half. Dallas ended the game with 76 total rushing yards, with Ezekiel Elliott's 26 yards on the ground leading the way. After catching a pass over the middle in the second quarter, Pollard's left ankle was rolled up on while being tackled by 49ers defender Jimmy Ward. Pollard required assistance to leave the field before heading into the team's medical tent. He would then be carted to the locker room with an air cast around his leg. The Cowboys ruled him out for the remainder of the game at halftime. Entering the game, Pollard rushed for 1,007 yards to account for 43.8% of the Cowboys' yards on the ground this season. He caught 39 passes for another 371 yards.